Hi guys, welcome to the unboxing and quick review of this CPE71C wireless bridge. This is available on Amazon for only around $100, and the idea is here you have a transmitter and you have a receiver, and you can transmit your own wireless signal, let's say from your router which you have at home, to a far away destination. This can be up to 3 kilometers, of course only in perfect conditions, but it has already helped a lot of people to access the internet outside, in a barn, in a storage, in a garage or so you don't have to set up another router and then pay for the internet and everything. So you can use the data which you are already paying for from your internet service provider and then access the data there on the router, connect one device, and then you have the other device outside, and then you're connecting your laptop or whatever you want to use. Of course, it's not a wireless device, it's just a Ethernet device, but of course you could then add like a wireless router outside in a garage or in a barn, and then transmit the wireless signal from there. So this is just the thing in between. They are a little bit large, of course. They have to be very powerful, so it's not working with small devices. They work with 5.8 gigahertz. And here's already the manual, which is really important. I think I'm going to show you that really quickly, because I think that's a really good manual here. I think it's even better than the thing which you see online, let's say on Amazon or so. I don't know if they have their web page. Maybe we're going to find out, but this is something really helpful here, and it's nicely large and everything nicely described. So actually it's not very difficult. I mean, it's a really easy thing to set up, only in case you have to access this device internally through the browser, then it's getting a little bit more complicated, but it's actually similar to other devices. It's not something which is just with this device. This is a common way to configure like routers also. It's just a little bit looking weird when you're doing this the first time, but if you are already a little bit experienced of setting up routers and wireless access points and these things, it's just more or less a standard thing. But as long as it's not needed, don't do anything with this thing. I mean, this is the normal IP configuration which also affects your internet access, and if you mess this up here, you won't be able to access your internet anymore. I mean, it can be changed anytime. There's nothing which is lost forever. But if you really mess it up and you can't find where to go and where to re-establish the original settings, then it's gonna be difficult. But there's also some help in the Windows, like from Windows Help. So here I have my laptop. It has a wired connection here, and we are going to replace that with a wireless connection here, but just locally, not too far away, with the standard configuration. And then I'm going outside and see how the reception is a couple of hundred of yards away from here. If I have time, I am going also to access the web menu, but just if I have enough time. So let's go and take everything out of the box here. Again, these are larger items, not very heavy, just rather lightweight, so it's easy to mount it, let's say on a wall or so. Then we get even some mounting material. Then we get 2 Ethernet cables which we need, and then we get these 2 power over Ethernet adapters. I don't know why they made the decision to use something like that. I mean, normally we would expect to have something which we plug in and then power the receiver or the transmitter from there, and have the cable then from the transmitter to the PC. Here it's not the case. Here it's a little bit different. So here we have to plug it into, of course, normal power, and then one of the Ethernet cables go to either the transmitter or the receiver, and then the other one goes to either the PC client or the router where the internet signal is coming from. I don't know why they did that. It's a little bit unusual, but it's actually no big deal. So what we have on this device, we see the configuration what we need if we want to access the menu here. That's the IP address which you see, and the client initial IP address, username and password if you need. But we don't need it at the moment if we just go with the standard configuration. So this is how to open. You hold it like this, and then you just pull the cover here to the back. We need to do that for both of the devices. And what's important before we add power here, we have to change the switch from the transmitter to the right side and from the receiver to the left side. That's it, and we are actually ready to go. We connect the cables here. So I'm straight using the cables which are in the box, so like this, and then we connect it to the power. And what's important here, that you put it in on the right side. Here we have the power over Ethernet. That's going, of course, to the transmitter or receiver. That's the one here. And the other side then goes to the client. Here it's described as LAN. And here on the other side, same thing. I hope you can see that PoE, power over Ethernet, it's now of course not only power, it's also data, because it's going through the thing here, and then LAN, that's only data here. What's very convenient that we can close it after that, but it's a little bit too early. So for the moment we leave the cover open because we have to adjust the channel here. Okay, so I checked the instruction manual again, and it looks like they are really pre-configured, so you don't have to do anything. We could actually close. So if you get this device, don't do anything regarding the switches and so on. I mean, anyway, one was on the left side, one was on the right side, and the one on the right side is the transmitter, and the one on the left side is the receiver. But if it's not working, you can do the reset. I think you have to press for 15 seconds or so, and then you can do the setup. It's very easy, it's very simple. You don't have to go to the browser and do this crazy stuff. But we are trying now with the default setup, so exactly how it came from the factory. Let's do the connection here. On the right side we have the one with the switch on the left side, which is the client. So we have to connect the client here. Of course we need an additional cable. Let's say if we need to connect with a PC, so we take the additional cable which is then transmitting the data to the PC, and we connect it to the PC. So we disconnect here, and now the yellow cable, that's mine, that goes into the PC. I mean, it's just an Ethernet to USB adapter, but doesn't matter. Usually you will have just to plug in the Ethernet directly into your computer. Here's the data coming from the router, and we have to plug it in here in the transmitter. So we have it here. That comes from the router, that goes then into the sender, and from the receiver it goes into the power adapter, and from here it goes into my PC. So that's the plan. So let's plug both of them in now and see how this works. We see some light here. Yeah, there were just some short numbers displayed. Unfortunately, we cannot see them anymore. That's the channel here, and we are not going to change the thing. If you need to change the channel, we can just short press here. For long press, we have to press 15 seconds, but I'm not going to do anything here. And on the side, we have these lights. I hope you can see that. It's not very strong, but let's see. We see the power, but I cannot see the state. Is it already green? Yeah, now it's still blinking. You can see that the power, on the power we have both green, but regarding the state, it's still blinking. So we leave it for some time. Yeah, what I see during this time, we have 0 on the transmitter and on the receiver. That's probably the channel. I'm still waiting for the connection. Yeah, I would say it took about a minute. Now we can see we have 4 times green solid light, and that should mean that we have connection. I haven't checked here. This is really the first time when I'm checking, so I'm just refreshing to see if we still have access to the internet, and it's definitely refreshing and working like usual. And I'm also checking the speed, but the speed is actually very slow here. Of course, we are a little bit limited here in the setup in this office here, because the gray cable. The gray Ethernet cable is just coming from power LAN adapter, which is already very limited, but let's see what we get here. Okay, so this is what we get. We have a ping of 34, we have a download of 7.4 megabits and upload of 5.8. It's very super slow. I have a 1 megabit here actually internet in my home, but of course not with the power LAN adapter. But let's compare to the original cable. When we see these values here, so I'm disconnecting here again. I'm going back to direct communication without this transmitter and receiver. And so I'm testing again. Remember these values here. So it's finished, and we see the old values here, and we see the new values. So these are the values with direct communication. This is a little bit a faster ping, but you can see regarding upload and download speed, there is not much difference. We had even more download when we were using the transmitters here. So the difference is more or less just random. There is no real difference visible with direct communication or with using this transmitter and receiver, at least as long when we have it really close. So I'm going a little bit away with the receiver and the laptop, and I'm testing this a couple of 100 yards away. Yeah, because I thought it's maybe important to show you an example how to access one of these, like the transmitter or the receiver. Here in this case it's the receiver because I'm connected to the receiver automatically. Yeah, I had a little bit of problems to connect, so I wanted to show you how it worked in my case. You can see I have the web page now, and this is the web page which is coming from like an internal web server which is built into this device. It's not the internet. So how this works, yeah, go a little bit closer here, so hopefully you can see that. So here we have the internet connection. You can see it's wired. I right click on that, I go to open network and internet settings, and then we have to find the right connection. It's here with the Ethernet icon, and then we can go to the right side, change adapter options, and we should find the one. If you have a couple of them, make sure that it's not the one with a red cross. Here we have this one here, it says unidentified network, but it's definitely the USB 3.02 gigabit, which is this USB adapter which I have. So this is the one which I'm using. So I right click again, go to properties, and then we have to go down to the Internet Protocol version 4, click on properties again, and then we have this configuration. So usually it is marked with obtain IP address automatically, and also here automatically. So we have to change this to this bullet here and this bullet here, and we have to apply manual settings. What I had to apply is this one here, 192.168.2.11.2, and this is the subnet mask, which is not a real number. It's just telling the router that we want to use these numbers here. So you have to really use it exactly like this one here. I had applied same number here in the default gateway, also this one, the number on the top here. Now it looks like it deleted it, but I can tell you, I can assure you, I had entered 192.168.2.11.2 also here. For some reason it made it blank, probably because it's the same number here on top. And here also you have to click on use following DNS server address, and it's also 192.168.2.11.2, and they click on OK. I think we can leave it like this, or you can close it. Maybe it's better to save. Then we go to the Internet Explorer the best, and then we have to enter this number here again, and this number is coming from here. So if you are dealing with the transmitter, then it's one of these numbers. If you are dealing with the receiver, and here I am on the receiver, we have seen the pairing code 0 when we had the flap open. I have showed you the number 0, and then we have to go to the IP address 211.140. You can see that's the one here. That's depending on the number which is here inside. I can show you here. You can see the 0. That's the one here which we have to match for for transmitter and receiver, and then go to the corresponding number, and here we have 140. At least this is based on my understanding, and we hit it, and you can see it has then changed the URL a little bit. We just have to enter 192.168.211.140, and then we enter admin. I've never been here, so let's see if this works. Looks like it's working. Yeah, we can save that, of course, or not, and we see all the things which we need. I think we have to go to the main page and then change the language. There's the language somewhere. Yeah, we can also use the automatic translation, but we can also go to the lowest point here, and then we have the internet or interface languages, and here we have English, and probably we have to hit change, and then we have access and change everything, but of course you have to be careful, but you can always set it back to default settings. So looks good so far. But when you're working with this setup, or you have been working with this setup, then it's really important to change the setup back, otherwise you won't have any internet access anymore. Let's say I'm typing here google.com, and it's clearly saying you cannot reach this page. So you have to go back to the settings, right click, go to properties, IP4, and then we just click here, obtain everything automatically. Also here, obtain everything automatically. Click OK, close here, and we refresh, and we should have access to the internet again, you can see. So this is something which is really important. After changing these things, you have to really go back to your original network adapter settings. Then let's go to the results which I had outside. Yeah, I went a little bit far away. That was about 300 yards, and it was really far away behind a couple of homes, and that was definitely not good. So I didn't get any transmission, I didn't get any reception. Means the green light was blinking forever, a couple of minutes, and I didn't get any reception. So I think what you need is some really straight line, more or less visibility, and then you have a really huge range, probably up to the 3 kilometers. But if you have massive objects in between, it's not going to work. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to test that. What I've tested it through my whole home. So I had the sender in one corner, and I went outside exactly to the other side of the home. So the signal had to cross about 4 walls, 2 really massive walls of them. And usually the normal Wi-Fi is not able to cross these walls. There's no way to access this location. And I'm going to show you the results which I have managed to achieve. So again, this was my first test here inside with this connection really close. Then I went without, you can see that here. And this is the result outside. The ping was even lower outside behind the home. That's crazy. I had this download and upload. I tested again, so it looks like it was very, very consistent, and the ping is really amazing. How low this ping really is, that is fascinating. And then I went back to my room here and put the sender and receiver very close to each other, and you can see the result. So you can see there's almost no difference visible in the result when we have the sender and receiver so close, or when the signal has to cross the whole home with all the walls. That's amazing. So it looks like the signal just went down, probably from my power LAN adapter, and has nothing to do with the transmission. So this is definitely way more capable than normal Wi-Fi signal, but you have to avoid crossing a lot of massive walls, of course. But if you have straight visibility, or just within your home, like a short distance, maybe 50 yards or so, then you can even cross many thick walls. So as a final resume, I would say this is definitely a solid thing. It's working good. So as long as you don't want to do crazy stuff through the web interface, then it's very easy to handle. You just plug everything in and you're ready to go. By the way, one thing maybe from my side, I had a blinking green light for some time after reconnecting. By the way, no matter what you do, even if it's pre-connected, every time you reconnect, it will take about 1 minute, but you don't have to do anything. I mean, as long as it was pre-connected successfully, if you lose power, turn it on again, it will reconnect within about 1 minute. One time I had already good signal here and it was still blinking for another minute or two. You don't have to be worried. You can really start working on that as soon as you have internet here. And now it's stable again. I would say this is definitely a nice thing here. Doesn't get hot or so. I mean, it's definitely not a small thing, but it comes with everything. Solid, stable, definitely way beyond possibilities which you have from normal Wi-Fi. I can highly recommend to use if you're struggling with Wi-Fi reception around your home. And I'll put down the link to the Amazon listing down into the description so you can check it out and order it right from there if you like it. And I hope I've been able to help you a little bit with this video. If you have any questions or comments, just write to the comment section below, and I'm always happy to talk about these things. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.